a light inside us. And some things turn our lights on, and some things turn our lights down. So I'd like you just to consider for a moment what turns your lights on. I have a light inside me, and the town that I live in lights me up. And the town that I live in lights me up because it's full of places to connect. It's full of cool people doing cool things and inviting their friends to share what they're excited by. And I love that about my town. And I work in community development, and I've worked across regional and rural Australia, and I've travelled extensively. And what I have found, as I have travelled to other small towns, and in Australia a small town is identified as about 10,000 people or less, as I've travelled around these towns, I've identified that people say that it's a really lovely place to live, but there's not much to do. It's gorgeous by the river, but it's a bit boring. Paradise is wonderful, but I can't make any friends. So as I hear this, I feel, why does this matter? And it matters because social connection is the pillar of mental health and wellbeing. It's underpinned by frameworks like the 5 Ways to Wellbeing that talk about social connection as really being up there as if you're not socially connected, you're much more likely to experience loneliness and anxiety, and you may be more likely to lean on drugs and alcohol, and we've all been there, doom scrolling on our phones when we're bored. Gaming, there's lots of things, there's lots of social issues around being bored and lonely that contribute towards anxiety and depression. So, what's the solution? Well, if you're bored, then things to do, and if you're lonely, then places to connect. But there's nowhere to go and there's nowhere to connect. So when people say this to me, I first of all ask them, have you actually looked? Because it's easy to say, oh, there's nothing to do. But when you actually unpack it a little bit more in country towns, there's Rotary groups, there's Lions groups, there's CWA, CFA, all of these things that for many, many years have been turning the lights on in their towns. And all of these organisations need new members, new volunteers, new ideas to keep their lights on. So first of all, have you looked? But I do appreciate that for some people, those things might not be the right thing. There might be a land care group, but they might not like gardening. Or there might be a church choir, but they really want to sing Madonna songs. So for those people, I ask you, well, have you considered putting it on yourself? And what I hear back from people when I suggest that is that people are not scared of putting the work together to do it, but people are scared that they're going to be seen as some, upstart blowing, coming in with your ideas, or that they're not going to get supported and people won't come. So I'd like to challenge that first. I love Scrabble. It's one of my favourite things to do. So put your hands up if you do not like Scrabble. There's a few people. It is a bit of a Vegemite game, which is why I've chosen it, because the people that love it, and the people that don't like it really don't like it. So you, and I'm just going to call you lovingly the haters, you who do not like Scrabble, I've moved to a new town and I happen to meet you in the pub and I say, I'm going to put on a Scrabble night. And you go, Scrabble's boring. I don't want to play Scrabble. No one's going to come to that. And I go, oh. And it happens that the first few people that I speak to are haters. And I go, oh, well, I'm not going to put my Scrabble night on. But hands up if you love Scrabble. So I'm not going to put my event on because the first few people that I spoke to didn't like it, but look at all of the people that would love to go to a Scrabble night. They miss out. So I feel like when we live in small communities, we have this need to, like an extra special need to make sure that when someone has an idea, even if it doesn't directly benefit us, that we nurture it and we encourage it because all of these people, and we imagine I do put that Scrabble night on, and we put it on in the pub, and country pubs on a Wednesday night, often not very busy, but the pub's full. And there are, 20 people that come, let's say 20. That's 20 people that have got something to look forward to that week. And those 20 people come together, and a couple of those people make friends. And the Scrabble night continues, so the pub lights up. The people that are looking forward to it light up. All over town, there's these little lights going on, just by one Scrabble night. Isn't that beautiful? And it doesn't matter if it's Scrabble. It could be the Madonna choir, it could be a dance group or a yoga class or whatever it is that brings people together. If there is something that you want to do, it is really likely that you're going to be able to find a whole other group of people within your town that want to do that too. So I do encourage you to find your yes people. You that put your hands up, you're the people that are going to help me put this event on. I don't have to do it on my own. You're the yes people. Now, there's a really special place for community events to make sure that people get seen and celebrated. As part of my role with the festival, we put on a variety show, and there's a young man in town and he has a disability and he makes music with his support worker. And I heard about this and I asked him, would he like to play in our show? And he said yes he would. Had his first gig and it lit him up like a hot air balloon. He couldn't have pulled him down off the ceiling for weeks. And I spoke to him maybe 2 months later, and he had moved out of home and he had got a girlfriend. And it wasn't through being involved in our event that these things happened. This gentleman has got great support, but it was the confidence boost that happened that allowed him to take that next step. And community events allow people to be seen and celebrated. It's the getting high-fived in the supermarket the next day because of your performance that gives you that sense of connection and being seen and celebrated in your community. So when you put an event on, it's important that you consider who doesn't get seen and who can get to be seen in that space. Because your event can actually change somebody's life in astronomically amazing ways. Meaningful participation is not just about being the singer in the band, right? You can be part of an event through being in the back end, being on the door, on the bar, taking tickets. Being involved in a successful event is just as good as being involved as the front person. And that opportunity to be seen and celebrated, volunteering, and yay to all the volunteers out there that are already doing this. But it gives you the opportunity to lock into your community and be seen and be part of something cool. We have a lovely volunteer who joined our group before our last festival, but she'd only been with us for a couple of weeks, and she'd come to a couple of meetings and then she went overseas. And while she was overseas, her pet sitter cancelled. She's on the other side of the world and she still had 3 weeks to go. So she thought she was going to have to come back from the other side of the world, and she reached out to our group in a bit of a state going, I don't know what to do, does anybody got any ideas? And within moments, and thanks technology, within moments, somebody said, you're good, I've got this for you, I will go and look after your animals, don't come home, we've got you. And she did, and she stayed away. And when she got back, she said it was the most amazing sense of being held and supported in her community that she would absolutely not have got if she had not given some of her own time. There's a really important thing when you're working with volunteers, because they're the yes people and they're going to help you get this stuff going. Volunteers are yes people. So if somebody's got an amazing idea that they want to bring to your event, even if it doesn't necessarily fit with your complete vision about what you are going to do, if somebody's got something that they want to do, say yes. Volunteers are yes people, and seeing their ideas ignited and lit up will light them up. And they will turn up early, they will stay late, they will put out the chairs, they will do a lot of hours, they will promote your event, and they will bring people to your event because they are engaged in your event, because you said yes to their ideas. Say yes, because volunteers are yes people. Now, I hope you're all feeling a little bit inspired to go and put on your amazing Madonna choir or whatever it is, but I would like to say, before you do that, do not light yourself up so hard that you set yourself on fire. Burnout is very real in community, particularly in community events, and behind nearly every successful that I know, with perhaps this one being the exception, but nearly every successful I know, there is a woman, and it is very important to acknowledge these women as part of this gender equity series of TED Talks. There is a woman working a lot of hours on a spreadsheet, and she is working a lot of hours on that spreadsheet to make amazing things happen within her community. So if you know one of these women, I encourage you to light them up. Buy them coffee, share their social media posts, and let them know that they have your support, because your support will light them up. And they will continue to do the amazing work that they do in their communities for their communities. So you can light up those women. So I'm about to wrap up now and ask you, don't ask what your town can do for you, but what you can do for your town. How are you going to light your town up? Will you light your town up by finding out what already exists, getting involved with it? Will you light your town up by supporting and nurturing other people's ideas and helping them find the yes people in the room? Or will you light up your town by putting on your Madonna choir? Is it you that's going to put that event on? There is nothing better for community, health and well-being than opportunities for people to come together, connect, support and celebrate one another. Because when you light up your town with fun things to do, you light up the people with it.